Paul from quickandmobile.com, and we are here with an instructional video about the Wheellator lightweight motorized hybrid wheelchair and walker. So we're directly on quickandmobile.com, but there are quite a few things that I want to point out that make this device so unique, and I feel that doing an instructional video like this is a perfect way to point out some of the benefits of the Wheellator. So we see in this picture right here, this looks more like a motorized wheelchair than a walker or rollator, and you're absolutely right. And in this picture, and don't worry, we're going to go over many more pictures, this looks like a walker with a seat. So let's take a look at a few of the pictures for starters. The first thing I'll point out is that we have in the rear wheels, you can see that we have handbrakes that work with those rear wheels, but we also in these rear wheels have two 250 watt motors. So each rear wheel has a 250 watt brushless hub motor. And of course, there are a lot of small safety features. Here you can see this as a walker. And one of the things that I'm going to point out is, let's take a look at the casters and the front wheels here. Okay, so I'll kind of let that zoom out a little bit. And again, we take a look at the casters here. Those casters are made from aircraft grade aluminum. They're not made from plastic. And we can see that the front wheels are actually bigger than the rear wheels. So the front wheels are about 9.5, 10 inches. Rear wheels are approximately 8 inches. So I'll get a little bit more into that in a bit, but that is exceptionally relevant, and there's a lot of reasons why. And of course, we see a little bit of a different angle right here. We see a couple of the things like the handles here. So the handles are adjustable. You can kind of lift and lower the handles, and that back brace is reversible, and that lifts and lowers as well. So, and of course, you've got the basket that's under the seat, and the basket is where you have the battery. We of course give you a free battery, so you get a total of 2 batteries in the CPU, an ample amount of storage space, and of course, you know, there is the look of the wheelchair again. So I think one of the things that makes this unique as a wheelchair is that you have an adjustable speed controller that is directly on the front of the device, and you also have an attendant controlled joystick on the back of the device. So that gives you the option of either operating it yourself or having an attendant operate the chair when it's in wheelchair mode. So let's just go ahead and scroll down, and of course, if you do go to the website, the first thing you'll see is those pictures. You'll see the order form, and of course, we scroll past that and we get to the description. So the description, we'll go ahead and press play here, and I'll just kind of narrate. So what we're seeing right here is the joysticks adjusting, so you can kind of have the joystick knob closer or further away. And it's, of course, you've got different speed levels on the joystick. It does have a horn. And you can see the chair right there. It's being used as a wheelchair. And I don't know if you can see kind of across the street, there was a bit of a hill that I kind of came down from. And you can see exactly how that looks. Now, I'm 6 feet tall and I weigh about 240 pounds. That's another really important thing to point out is this device holds approximately 265 pounds. It weighs only 32 pounds, and look how smooth that it's going on. Look how smooth it's driving. See those front casters right there? Those front casters make a huge difference. If those are plastic, the devices there's a device that looks similar, but it has plastic casters, it's heavier, and it only holds up to 220 pounds. So I would not be able to actually use that device. And of course, you know, you see that it easily turns. I'm admiring the scenery, the lake. Of course, there's a sign that says don't feed the alligators. I have no intention on doing so. But if I was out taking a walk or strolling around and I became tired, I can instantly turn that into a wheelchair. So that video is right on our webpage. I encourage you to take a look at it. But we do have some kind of quick highlights that I'll go over here. So the device with the battery in, it weighs 36 pounds. It's under 32 pounds without the battery. That's amazing. It folds sideways. It can fit in the trunk of just about any car. It does have adjustable handles when it's used as a rollator or a wheelchair for that matter as well. 30 to 38.5 inches high rear handles. It's convenient. It folds sideways. It's very strong. It was built with industrial 7003 grade aircraft aluminum, and you get approximately 16 miles per charge. So it has an exceptionally long range because we give you an extra battery. You get a total of 2 batteries. That's a little dinger that some of these companies will give you just a single battery with the device, and then basically you're stuck with a small range. And then if you look at getting a second battery, it's either not available or it's available at a massive price, or even worse, they say it's airline compliant. They give you a 10 battery that is not airline compliant, and then you're stuck. So this one travels easy. It does have 2 FAA aircraft travel approved batteries, and of course you can use this as a rollator or a power wheelchair, and there's a motorized function of the rollator as well, which is really pretty amazing. So we've got the anti-fall technology when it's used as a rollator. We do have easy to use handbrakes when you're using it just as a flat out walker. And of course, the high quality lithium ion batteries last between 3 and 5 years before you would actually need a replacement. And it folds up, very compact for easy and simple storage. Simple to drive is a motorized wheelchair with a pressure sensitive SensiTouch joystick. I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a moment. It does have weather resistant coating and protection, and we do offer free continental United States shipping. It typically gets to your home between 4 and 8 days from the time that you order, and it comes standard. That's right, standard, with 2 joystick controllers, one on the rollator side and one as a joystick. So you can use it indoor on plush carpet, solid floors, grass, gravel, etc. Basically, with this, it's a great way to regain your freedom. So let's take a look here. I mean, you can just kind of see the device, a little bit bigger of a picture here, and it's unfolded. You have the ability here to use it as a seat. So if you're using this as a walker, and a lot of the case, the doctor is going to tell you, hey, you know what, we want you walking, we want you out, we want you walking. And then you kind of run into a couple conundrums with walking, because sometimes even having a rollator with a seat, what happens if you take a little bit of a walk and you get tired? I mean, sitting for 5 minutes can be nice, but sometimes that doesn't quite do the trick. So we'll get more into that in just a bit, but the seat is very comfortable. I could sit there for an extended period of time with no issue, and the materials that were used are high quality materials, and no stone was unturned. Those little buttons right there, that just kind of unlocks the footrests, and the footrests are adjustable as well. Just like this handle is, and just like this backrest would go up and down, so do the handles go up and down. And of course, there you can see the aluminum casters. Now that's such a big deal. I mean, if you think about it, I wouldn't be able to use a device that holds up to 220 pounds because I exceed the weight limit by 20 pounds. In other words, if you have little chintzy plastic casters there that can snap, if you have a little chintzy bearing that can snap, and basically if you have heavy small front tires, you're basically adding a lot of unnecessary weight to the device. And that stinks. So we take a look here again. I mean, we see another picture. This is the wheelchair, and there are little tags on every component. That basket completely removes. Every component of this is very easy to assemble, disassemble. We can see that the foot rests here. They swing right out, and you can kind of look at the perforations in the front wheels. The front wheels are very strong and very light, and they were made bigger than the rear wheels on purpose, because the reason that people get a device like this is not because they want a motorized wheelchair, but because they want something with options, and something that's going to allow them to walk, and something that is going to give them more freedom and more flexibility. Small front wheels for a walking device are going to create impediments. We'll get more into that in just a little bit. Of course, you can see some testimonials directly on our website, and this is probably one of my absolute favorites, demonstrating the use and utility of this device. So we're seeing here that I'm actually on a hill. Now, Mount Dora, Florida has hills. I'm just kind of demonstrating the use and utility of swinging out the actual leg rest, and how easy it is just to kind of swing the arm over, so that device pretty instantly, you can see, turns into a wheelchair very easily. And of course, there's the back that articulates as well. So basically what I'm saying is that we're going to go down that hill, and there's a lake. There's Lake Dora at the bottom of the hill. And that's actually a relatively steep hill. Now, look at that. So if I'm using just a Wheelator, I'm demonstrating right there, there's a pretty significant problem. If you're going down a hill, it's not giving you stability because you have to basically pull that device back. Or you're riding the handbrakes the entire time. So I turn the rear joystick on, and basically I have C1, C2, C3. So that basically assists the device moving forward. We'll get into that in just a moment. This is a really unique component of this video, but I put it in resistance mode. So you see, it doesn't move down the hill, and it's actually giving me resistance. So these motors are kind of giving me resistance. You see, it's in 1, so I've got 1, 2, and 3 speeds. So I can push on that device, and that device gives me resistance. And I've kind of demonstrated if I turn that device off, look what it does. It starts kind of trucking all on its own. I turn it back on, and basically I want something that I can kind of have resistance here. The motors will not just let that device run away from you. I wanted to walk a little bit faster, so I adjusted it to 3, not 1. But you could go slow too. There's no problem with going slow. You can go slow, you can go fast. It's difficult in videos sometimes to see the degree of the slope, but I'll tell you what, you saw what that Wheelator was doing. And look at those wheels. Look at those perforations right there. Large front wheels, so when you're using it as a walker, you can tackle obstacles. You can kind of get an idea of the scale there, because that is a pretty steep hill. That's a pretty steep grade that I'm going down, but I'm pushing against the device, and the device is giving me stability and resistance. Small wheels on that sort of terrain right there, that's going to give me a problem. And I just demonstrated that if I slipped, if I go forward, if I fall forward, the device, it locks up. The whole device locks up and gives me stability. So that is an extremely convenient feature. And again, small wheels right there, this is going to give me a battle every single time. If I have a device with the small front wheels, I'm fighting every time I go over a hill. And of course there, I'm just suggesting we can go to quickandmobile.com. Of course, there's a telephone number to call. That's where you would get your Wheelator. But now I bet a lot of people are wondering, okay, it's great that we had resistance down the hill, but I don't want to be pushing that device up the hill with resistance. So now I changed it to C. And now with the C mode, all I have to do is basically put my finger right down on, and I'm showing you right there, just press that button, and guess what? Now the device is doing the walking for me. So I am not pushing it up the hill. The device is assisting me. It's moving all on its own. So I am not pushing 32 pounds up the hill. And I'm kind of, if I need to, using that device to propel me up the hill. So I don't need to be riding the brakes or anything like that. It's very easy to use. And if I get tired, of course, I can just, as I demonstrated in the very beginning of that video, just flip the joystick over and flip out the leg rests, and instantly I am using a wheelchair. And of course, if I'm sitting in the wheelchair and don't want to be driving it, I have somebody assisting me, the person would be basically walking where I'm walking right there. Of course, I've got my hat on to keep the sun out of my eyes, and the device stops when I stop. So that is an amazing component of that Wheelator. And we take a look here at just some of the small safety features. If you're out at nighttime, you've got reflective material on the handles. You can see the handbrakes. It's quality PVC. And you can kind of see right here basically where you've got this is in walker mode. You press that little button and boom, right away that flips right out, and you've got this in wheelchair mode. You can see that the joystick on the front, I didn't peel the protective cover off on this one just yet. That adjusts, that allows you to basically move the knob further or closer to your body so you can feel more comfortable. And of course, the brakes on the rear wheels, when you're just using this as a walker, which you can do, you can turn all the power off and just use it as a walker. Gives you that option. You can twist those to adjust the resistance on the brakes as well. So it's pretty amazing really what you can do at the end of the day with this thing. And again, you can kind of see here, this is a walker. You're using it as a walker. Very clearly, you can see the bigger front wheels, strong, flat, free tires, no air in these tires. And basically, you can see that if I got tired and I'm pushing this, I can just kind of flip around and take a seat. That's all I need to do. Maybe I want to get up and use it in the C mode, C1, C2, or C3 to help me, or maybe I'm going down a hill and I basically want to use it in the resistance mode like I showed you. I mean, how many possibilities does that open up for somebody who basically feels that, Rollator is great, but what about going up and what about going downhill and what if I get tired? What if? And those questions that don't have an answer a lot of the times become stumbling blocks and reasons as to why you wouldn't get out and be active, even if the doctor said so. Or even if you want to, more than the doctor said so, even if you want to. You can kind of see here, this is a bit of a closer picture of basically this articulating backrest right here, the articulating backrest. You can kind of move that up and down as well. You can see the handle is lower down at this point. The handle here is extended. So this handle can kind of drop down as well. And we do have a seat belt, so when you're using this as a wheelchair mode, if you want the seat belt is very simple to use. And of course, that basket, just as I explained in the very beginning of the video, the basket can very easily be removed. You can kind of see the little hooks here. And at that point, you can kind of see, I'm sitting there on the wheelchair, I'm looking at the lighthouse, but it holds very easily, 240 pounds of my weight, and I'm about 6 feet tall, and you can see that basically all I did was just turned around and took a seat. That was it. So you can rest when you want to rest. And then, of course, when you would like to turn this into a wheelchair, you can very easily, very instantly turn it into a wheelchair. The attendant could use this joystick, or you could use this joystick. Whatever you want to do, the options are there. So as we explained and I showed in the video, there's handbrakes, of course, and there's the anti-fall technology, which to me, that's kind of a game changer. I mean, if that doesn't give a person confidence, I don't know what will, because this does so much more than just provide just a stationary motorless device. It actually has a life. It has a soul as far as I'm concerned, and it has a heartbeat. It basically does what you want it to do in the circumstances where you want it to be, and it has the small things. It has an extra battery that some people would charge $500-600 for additional batteries. They're airline compliant. You have the aluminum alloy casters. That is huge. Those plastic casters, in the past, that was one of the first types of casters that went on the Airhawk wheelchair. Those things, in my opinion, are a nightmare. They snap in half and they basically leave you pretty much, out of luck, not to mention a bit of a risk. And you've got the bigger front wheels than rear wheels, and that's a big deal as well. So when you're shopping around for this type of device, you really benefit from looking at the small details, because the small details make a big difference, a monumental difference. And of course, two controllers come with the Wheellator, and you can kind of see here the arms come up on the Wheellator, and of course you can see in this picture you have 3 different holes. Now you do get a toolkit with this Wheellator as well. Comes with the toolkit. So if you wanted to adjust the foot pedals where they were higher up, you could. Not a stone was unturned with this particular device. There was so many small things for a person's comfort, a person's ease, a person's convenience that were thought about, considered, contemplated when coming up with this device, that it kind of blows my mind what the engineers were able to do. I mean, it amazes me what the engineers were able to do with this, and for what this device can deliver in a person's life and the amount of freedom that this can do. Because how many times have you heard from the doctor, keep on walking, keep on walking, keep on walking, keep on moving, and then there's that issue of, well, it's great, but I get tired, or it's great, but I don't feel like going down that ramp. It's great, but this can be good in some circumstances, but if it doesn't have a motor and inherent safety conditions, it becomes more of a risk, and I'm scared. So by having these two 250-watt motors, by having the aluminum, heavy-duty aluminum casters in the front, the flat-free tires, the perforations here to make this device 32 pounds without that basket, and with the ability to make it instantly a motorized wheelchair and something that can help you climb up a hill, something that can help you become stable while going down a hill. It's amazing what it's able to do. So of course you see that is the wheelchair again. There's some of the specifics that we went over here. You can basically very easily adjust the foot pedals. That's extremely simple to do. We basically have some specifications here. I would encourage you just to go to quickandmobile.com and basically visit those. That's not a 10 AH battery. There's two 6.6 AH batteries, so that's a typo. That will be fixed. And you can see, of course, there is basically your walker position right there. There's another picture of the seat belt, and then we kind of get closer to the end of the video. And of course, seeing is believing. We take all of these devices to UPS. The basket is off, and you can see that it weighs 32 pounds. So we will go all the way back up to the top here, just in case you want to take a look at quickandmobile.com and our phone number. And of course, if you do just navigate to quickandmobile.com, you have on the front page of the website very easy navigation. And of course, at the time of this video, there's some holiday pricing going on, but all you would have to do would just be to click on the Wheellator, and there you are. And of course, if you scroll down, you can see other sections as well. But I certainly do appreciate taking the time, if you've made it this far in the video, to watch all the video. I would encourage you to subscribe to our channel. We do many different videos, many different devices. And if you have any questions, please just leave it in the comment section. We do the best that we possibly can to answer people's questions as well. And again, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're a little bit more well informed about the Wheellator. Thank you again.